You are now listening to the Growing and Becoming podcast.
Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to another episode. Today is the 23rd of January, one day after my birthday. So, my birthday was yesterday. I turned the sweetest 26. Yesterday was such a dream. And guess what I did? Absolutely nothing. I did not even lift a finger yesterday. I did not cook. I did not do anything. I was just sleeping, waking up, relaxing. And that is my ideal birthday celebration. When I told my brother, he was like, "Oh, such a dream." Because nah, so growing up, birthdays were not really, I wouldn't say that they weren't a big deal. They were, but my parents were not too fussy about it. Like, we were very simple people. We are very simple people. And, a good birthday would be you just being at home, having a great time. Mommy might make peanuts, chin chin, milk pies. She'll bake a cake if you get a cake, lovely. You're most likely gonna get a cake that mommy baked anyway. And she'll probably cook fried rice and chicken for everybody at home. So it was just nice. It was always just that thing you do at home. And for me and my brothers, that's the ideal thing. And I absolutely love it. Even last year, I wasn't going to do anything, but last year I was like, you know what? It's my 25th birthday. Let's just do something at least. So I cooked for, I think, about 10 people, including myself and my husband. We literally just surrounded my dining table. That's how small and simple I like things. I don't like stress. I don't want anything that's going to really put burden on me. Yesterday was absolutely perfect for me because I told my husband very clearly I don't want to do anything. And if my husband had done something, I would have not been happy. And this is why you need to marry somebody that understands you and respects your decisions. Because if you think about it, there are some people you tell, "Oh, I don't want anything for my birthday." And they'll probably will take it as an insult, like a blow to their face, like, "Oh no." So that you don't want people to think I didn't do anything for my wife, blah, blah, blah. My dear, if your wife says she doesn't want anything, or your husband said he didn't want anything, and you know them and you trust them that they're not they're not manipulative, yes. Just do what they want. So I'm really, really grateful for my husband that he listened to me and he really just let me have the kind of day that I wanted. And oh child, yesterday was perfect. It was perfect. Before we went to bed, so I think about 12 midnight, my husband prayed for me. And then we prayed together. I just worshipped God. I prayed. I was so happy. You could tell that I was so happy. Even though I had no plans, to me it was just another day, but there was this sense of happiness and joy, crossing over into the 26th year of my life. I was just worshiping and happy, and then we went to bed, woke up in the morning, just had a normal day. There was no pressure on me to wake up and start thinking, okay, let me go and get drinks, let me cook food, let me do this. People are coming over. That's torture in my head. You are literally torturing me. If I have to do that, no. Like, I've come to the resolve that I'm not the friend that hosts people. And every time that I've hosted people, to all my friends, it has taken a lot from me. Do I like it? Yeah. But do I look forward to it? No, I literally have to give myself a pep talk every single time. So for every time that I've probably done like a house thing, my friends know I'm more likely to say bring your own food. I'm more likely the friend to tell you to come along with something. Not because I I don't love you. I don't know. I just hope people don't read meaning into it because I know that it's a Nigerian thing to feed people all the time and I host people all the time. But I'm not that Nigerian auntie. Like, I'm not gonna be that Nigerian auntie. I was saying to my friends, like, so my one of my friends who said us for Christmas, and I was saying to her, do you know that every time I've come to your house, there's always food, and I feel like you're going to be that auntie, host people, and I'll gladly bring my children to your house because I'm not going to be that auntie. I'm not. You okay? there might be food. There will definitely be food in my house. There's never not food in my house. That one is standard. Anybody who has ever spent a night in my house or a weekend in my house knows you will not starve. But like in terms of having lots of people over, that's what I'm referring to. I like having, one or two, three people at the house. I love it. But once that number is exceeding 10, even that 10 is a lot. Once that number is exceeding 10, I'm just like, no, 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 you want to punish me. So, yesterday was perfect for me. How old was I turning then? Is it 22? 21? I don't know. But there was one birthday I decided I wanted to try something different. Oh, God. I mean, it was a nice birthday, do not get me wrong. I think it was it's definitely a memorable birthday. And I look back at it and I'm thinking, oh, well, it wasn't so bad. But it wasn't my ideal birthday. It wasn't something that gave me joy and happiness. It just gave me temporary feelings of, well, happiness, but I wasn't thrilled. I don't look back on that day and think, wow, that's one of the best birthdays of my life. I actually think it was one of the least best birthdays of my life. And that's because I decided to host people. Oh, my parents listen to my podcast, so I better be careful. But anyways, let's just say like I had a little space and I invited a lot of my friends. Yeah, so I got a space, I invited a lot of my friends. Had to do drinks, had to get food, snacks, everything, music, blah blah blah. It was a lot. I had to make sure that everybody was good. Gosh, what is that? Never again in my life. I'm not that babe at all. I'm not that babe. So for me, yesterday was a dream because, I just had a really great time. And then I went to church. Come on now. Like what? What? Yesterday was fantastic. So I just want to say thank you to all my friends for wishing me a happy birthday. Thank you to all of you for celebrating me. I felt the love yesterday. I was saying to my husband that for the first time in my life, I actually responded to all my messages before the day was over. I don't do that. First of all, on my Instagram posts, I don't even respond. I just like, comment, and that's it. I'll probably just do a general thank you. And that's because I'm so easily exhausted from doing other things on my birthday. But then because of how chill my day was, I had the time to really read messages and soak in all the love and really take in all the prayers. I read every single prayer. So if you sent me a prayer, trust me, I read it and I said amen to every line. I was genuinely happy. And I told myself, allow yourself to feel this love that people have towards you. I read some things and I'm like, really? You think that's about me? People that I've never even met or people who have been following me online for a while and they're saying things like you're so iconic and I really look up to you. I've been following you since like 2019 or something you get and you are really an inspiration and you motivate me, inspire me and I'm like, oh, me? What do? I just wake up and I do things well, I don't know. I'm not even gonna lie to you or try to downplay myself. I do be achieving things. That's kind of who I am. But it's just nice to hear people give you those remarks, like express how they feel and the level of impact you've had in their lives. Honestly, I thank God. It's not something I take for granted at all. And I think my birthday yesterday was such a beautiful time for me to really soak in all that love and appreciation. So thank you to everybody that took out time to send me a message, pray for me, call me. Honestly, you made my day. Yeah, so really grateful for that and grateful for the husband that I have. Honestly, like I love the fact that my day started with him praying over me and prophesying over me. That was just nice, like he's so, oh gosh, I love the man I married. 100% love the man I married. Um, yeah, I remember seeing this post from Vicky James about how some of you are not married because you want a man who's blah 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 blah. And so she starts listing a bunch of like nice things, but in the grand scheme of things, they don't matter much. Or rather, I think no, her point was you want all of these things in one man, and that's not possible. doesn't exist. I remember seeing this blog, like something popped up on my screen. I don't know what it was. I just, saw the first thing on the page was um Vicky James. It's crazy how Vicky James just basically just said she settled for less, and people feeling bad for her husband, like, oh, poor guy and all. So I'm like, oh, what happened again? Because I know people are always slandering this babe. So I'm like, what happened? And then I swipe, it's that post. So I'm reading this message. I'm like, okay, but what she said is not like out of place. She's not saying that she settled for less, or her man is not handsome, or her man is not any of these things. She's basically telling you, or telling whoever it applies to, that if you are desiring all of these things all at once in a man, it's largely impossible, darling.
Hello, you've come this far in the episode, and that means that you love it. So please hit the follow button and don't forget to rate the podcast. All right, then, back to the episode.
People have some very crazy expectations of what they want in a partner. And sometimes it makes me wonder, like, have you looked, I don't know, do you look around? Have you seen real life? Do you really look at some, like, people and think, oh, this person is absolutely perfect? I'm wondering. I know it's that thing where people have this grass is greener on the other side mindset, where you probably look at this couple and on the surface, maybe they look like a 10, or the man seems like a 10, whatever a 10 means to you. Because for some people, a 10 is Aaron, Pierre, that's my father. But for other people, a 10 is, a really dark skinned person that's really, really tall, or like he's not so tall. Some people don't like tall people, some people like short people, some people like average heighted people. So it just depends on what you think a 10 is. But then society has its own standards of beauty and whatever. And so you need to be very careful, because a lot of us like packaging. You want someone that looks good, that fits an aesthetic. And all because of social media, Instagram especially. You have to be careful. That's why I always advise, maybe you take some time off the internet and actually look at people, experience people, and you find that the man that you think is a 10 might have some really interesting quirks. We need to be very clear about what we want. And I think for me, seeing those comments really made me realize that, wow, there are lots of people who really, 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 really don't know how to choose a lifetime partner. Because if you are looking at all these things and making your basis of a choice of a partner on the outside or outward things, or things that are just unnecessary. So it's left for you to then determine the kind of person that is relevant to your life's path, someone that would align with your purpose. What do you want out of your life? What kind of person needs to come together with you or partner with you to achieve those things? So you choose your partner based on, your life's purpose, your direction. Where exactly are you headed in life? Don't make decisions on who to marry based off like vibes, or what people will think. Some people want to make decisions on who to marry because they're thinking of how beautiful they want their children to be. So you might see a man who's obviously aggressive, or a woman who's obviously, aggressive and manipulative, but because they're so beautiful by society standards, then you decide, oh, that's the person I want to be with for the rest of my life. Ha! No. You need to be very careful. And so to see people say those things about Vicky James and her marriage was very heartbreaking, because I don't know where to even start. And I guess I can start by asking you, my listeners, please, what do you look out for in a spouse? I know what I wanted. I've shared this on my Instagram before, actually. How I knew my boyfriend would make a good husband, or was a great husband. Yeah, maybe we actually should talk about that. So for me, I had certain things. I mean, the things I shared on my Instagram, that was not an exhaustive list, but yeah, it was a good one anyway. But yeah, so things I observed with my then boyfriend that made me know he'd make a great husband. The very first thing on that list is he's a man of accountability, one surrounded by men of integrity whose counsel he heeds. You shouldn't be the only voice of reason in your man's life. And for me, that was really important, because I I did not want a man who thinks that he's all in all, That's just very dangerous. So several things are here, several points are here, several traits are here. Number one, the kind of company that he keeps. Men of integrity. Very important. If his friends lack integrity, if his friends are not aligned with him in terms of values or beliefs, I would be worried. I remember one time I was giving counsel to this lady about her relationship. Apparently her then boyfriend didn't really have any mentors or any older male, or at least a peer support group that he's accountable to. And she was a bit worried about that because it just felt like he didn't like to take suggestions or feedback from anybody. He liked to do things his way and all of that. And I agreed with her, like, that's not a very good trait to have, to be honest. Especially for a man. If you're going to be submitted to a man, you need to be sure that there are good voices of reasoning in his life. You don't want a situation where you're married to somebody and then his friends are encouraging him to do silly things. Or maybe when the going gets tough, his friends encourage him to seek a divorce or something silly. You don't want that. So what kind of friends does this man keep and all of that? Does he listen? Does he heed to the counsel? Because he might have good friends, but he just doesn't take advice. He doesn't take instruction. You can't correct him. What kind of man is that? You don't want that for yourself, right? So that was one for me. And then another thing was his quest for knowledge. I love a man who reads. I know that I'm careful here, but I don't know that many men who are invested in reading about relationships or consuming relationship content. I've talked about this before. I don't find it attractive in any way. Maybe when I was younger, it wouldn't really matter, but now it matters so much. And so I'm just telling everyone listening to me who's probably not married yet, I beg you, find a man who pursues knowledge on relationships and he doesn't take it for granted. If he's reading all these business books and all these aspire to perspire books, he needs to also be consuming content or seeking out knowledge on how to be a better husband, how to date intelligently. I see what I did there. There's actually a book called Dating Intelligently. That's a good place to start. He's seeking out knowledge because he knows that he was not born with the manual for husbanding or boyfriending. So he has to learn. And how do you learn things? You read, you watch videos, listen to podcasts, all that lovely stuff. So it's really, really important that there is somewhere that he's getting knowledge from. Some of the first books on marriage and relationship I read were from my husband. I remember I read this book called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. I got that book from my husband. And I remember when I was reading it and I was seeing all his little markings and notes from way back when he read the book. I was so happy. I said, God, you have buttered my bread because this man is brilliant. You can tell that he wasn't just reading this book to pass time. He was invested in the book, in his little writings. You can tell that he had internalized what he was reading, trying to apply it to his life, thinking of practical ways to act it out when he gets married. What? Oh, gosh. But yeah, no, really, it's important. And if the person you are seeing right now does not have a habit of reading, they can pick it up. I'm not saying that, you should end a relationship with someone who's obviously a great guy and, is a perfect fit just because they don't read. It's something you can pick up. I would not have described myself as a reader some 4 or 5 years ago. I only liked academic stuff, academic reading. Anything outside that, I'm not interested. So I became a podcast girly because I'm more of a listener. Even when I'm learning in class, I have to be in class and listen to the teacher teach before I get things. So for me, I had to find my thing. But then I also realized the value in books. Oh my gosh, books are amazing. Even if it takes you 1 year to read only one book, try. And teachability is also another very important thing. If you'll know a man who's teachable by how much he's willing to give something a try, if he knows that it's going to benefit the relationship. So introduce your partner to reading, buy books for them, tell them how much it will mean to you and how important it will be for your relationship that you guys read a book together. You also pick up the habits of reading, pick it up. But yeah, and then counseling as well. Oh yes, our first counseling was actually my husband who paid for counseling, and this was when we were dating. We literally had just started dating, like 2 months into the relationship, but we knew we wanted to get married to each other, and so we needed a counselor to help us kind of work out what that would look like for us and how our relationship currently was and how we could progress that relationship into something even better. Another thing that I have on this list is his perception and attitudes towards people and relationships. And I think this keys in very nicely with the fact that they're pursuing knowledge on relationships. That just shows that they value relationships, friendships, mentorships, work relationships, relationships with family members. So important. You cannot be the most important person. Well, sorry, you should be the most important person. What am I saying? Of course, you should be the most important person in your man's life, but you can't be the only important person, if that makes sense. There should be other people in his life that he values. Obviously, not equally, because for women, your husband is your number one person in your life, and for the men as well, your wife is your number one person, even before your children, before your mother. All those silly things I see online. Oh, would you let your mother da, 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 and men are picking their moms? Are you mad? Like, is your wife a joke to you? Do you understand the concept of two becoming one? That's your flesh. That's you. That's the bone of your bone. That's your flesh and your blood. I don't care. Some people say things like, oh, blood is thicker than water because their mom is their blood and their wife is just a stranger that they got married to. Hey, God, please help me. Help me. Please be careful the kind of men that you marry, because some men actually, a lot more men that you think, actually hold those beliefs that, blood is thicker than water, blah, blah, blah. Their mom first before their wife. Man, weird. But yeah, do check that he has a good relationship with his family, his parents, his siblings, and he's a family person. I think one of the things I really observed with my husband that made me very impressed with him was his relationship, or is actually his relationship with his siblings. He has such a beautiful relationship with his family. Not obsessive or anything weird, just healthy. It's healthy. I love that. I want to be able to have in-laws and love them. I want to be able to be comfortable with my children mixing up with their cousins, because I don't know if you probably would observe some families and you see how dysfunctional it is, where there's no relationship between the cousins. The relationship between in-laws are just very bad. I did not want that for myself. And so just seeing the healthy relationship that my husband had with his siblings, his siblings' spouses, it was just beautiful. Chef's kiss. I loved it so much. And then his honor for other people, his value for other people, even people who are not his friends. I remember one time, so the church we attend now didn't have a branch in the city that we live in Manchester. And so my husband used to drive people in his car all the way to Birmingham for church every Sunday without fail. I remember one time they were supposed to drive back because my husband used to work jobs at the time, and so he needed to drive back to Manchester in time for his work shift. And people were wasting his time. And I was just observing, like, come on, guys, wasting this man's time and everything. We weren't dating then, but I remember this scenario because I thought, wow, this guy is very patient, because I probably would have left. I'm not that type of person anymore, guys. I'm a lot more patient now. But no, really, think about it. Like, your work is at stake here and people are just wasting your time. You were so patient, waiting for them to be done with whatever it is they were doing. And I thought, wow, that is such a beautiful trait. He did not lash out at people or make anybody feel like, oh, is it because I'm carrying you in my car? You know, some people do that. Some people act like you are at their mercy. I just really admire that about him. Like, he has value and honor for people, irrespective of their status, no matter who they are. Even people that offend him. I've watched my husband still honor people that offend him, people that disrespect him, and I love that. I really love that about him. Anyways, you can look at that list on my personal Instagram at mrs.wealth_ on Instagram. It's all there. But I really just, I don't know. I feel like I would love for more people to pay a lot of attention to the kind of partners that they would want to have long term. One thing I always say to the girlies that I've had the privilege of giving counsel to, one thing I say consistently is that if this person does not change, they don't become worse, they don't become better, they just remain the exact same person they are now for the rest of your marital life, would you be happy and content? If your answer is no, or if you want to say yes, but if you cannot say yes and scream it from the mountaintops, then you need to probably take a break. Pause. Hit pause and address that thing that's making you a bit uncomfortable. Check it out. For me, I asked myself that question. I said, okay, given this man as he is right now, with all his quirks or whatever, can you confidently say that you will be happy and fulfilled if he does not even improve? He stays the same. Would your children be able to live up to their full potential? Will your parents be happy with their in-law, their son-in-law? Will your brothers be happy? My answer was a resounding yes, because people change for the better, but guess what? People might also change for the worse. And so for me, if this person doesn't even change at all, can I even say that I'll be happy? So meaning if they change for the better, which they most likely will, because of the traits that I've already observed, they are constantly learning, they're interested in personal development, they are constantly seeking out ways to be better, they are teachable, they are accountable. Things like that propel people on an upward trajectory of growth. And so those qualities guarantee me that they are most likely to change for the better or to improve themselves. We really need to think very, very, very deeply. Leave all the superficial stuff. Pray about the kind of man that you want and trust that God is not going to give you a man. God will never give you a man you are not attracted to and force you to marry him. Why? Do you know who God is? He's a loving father. He's all good. And some people act like you either have this one or that one. No. You can have a man who is spirit-filled, who fears the Lord, loves God, reveres and honors God. Mind you, I'm not saying Christian brother. No, I'm saying he reveres God. He fears the Lord. He honors the Lord. He lives for God. Not just a churchgoer. You can have that, and he will be the most beautiful man you've ever seen in your life. The most attractive to you. You can. I'm the one telling you that you can. And you need to free yourself from societal standards. You can actually have a lovely, good-looking man, and because he's not 6 feet tall, you don't want to look his way. Because he's your height, you don't want to look his way, or he's shorter than you just by an inch. Girl, come off it now. What you say? Or some, for some people, it's the dressing. I ain't gonna lie though. I do be judging the man them that wear skinny jeans. I do be judging. Why are you wearing skinny jeans in 2020? It's 2025. What's wrong with you? If you're listening to this podcast and you're still wearing skinny jeans, even the girlies I judge. Why are you wearing skinny jeans? Free your legs. No, but for real, things like fashion sense, you can change those things now. As long as it's teachable again. It's a man that doesn't let you weigh in on his life decisions. I'll have a problem with your advice. I beg, please. Things like fashion, looks, you can always work on those things. I listened to an Instagram post today by Pastor Shola. I think he's the Shola on Instagram. He was talking about how anybody can level up. Anybody. I mean, we've seen some celebrities who had very humble backgrounds, in quotes, and now they look so different. Wow, because of money. They've been able to work out and now they look so much better. They're drinking a different kind of water now. They are eating different kinds of food. They're using skincare. They're buying really nice clothes, looking good. They have a fashion stylist. So let me tell you, listen, how your spouse is right now is not how they will be in 10 years. They'll be better. In fact, they will level up. There was this particular month, I think it was November. There were a lot of wedding anniversaries. I don't know if you noticed, but anyway, in my circle, my space, there were lots of wedding anniversaries, especially 10-year wedding anniversaries. And my God, the level up is crazy. I said, look at this leveling up. They look so much better. They look like a dream. And some of us look at those marriages and we want it. But if you look at where they started, look at the shoes they were wearing. Or look at some of the outfits, mixing red and yellow together. But now look at the outfits. Crazy. So please think long term, or don't think superficial things, blah blah blah. Oh, yeah, spot belly. Have you not seen people that work out and lose the belly? I don't get, oh, this is that. My darling, leave all those things. And you need to care less about what people outside have to say about your life. And also remember that even if they are going to talk, they're not going to spend their entire life talking about you. They will move on to someone else. So don't be thinking like, oh, people are just going to sit down and be talking about you and your spouse. Nobody has that time. Everybody's dealing with a lot. Anyway, this episode is just to encourage you to go back to your list of criteria for a spouse and check. Be very sure that you're not focusing or majoring on the minor things. No. Focus on the major things, the most important things, the things that matter, values, precepts, principles, those sorts of things, character traits, not how people look. Can you have both? Of course you can. Like what? I was saying to someone that I'm not going to be sitting down and praying to God, oh God, give me a Christian boy. I want a man that will serve you. No, because ideally, in the company that I sit, they are all believers. So me asking God for a Christian man is crazy. I hang out with mostly believers. Most of the people in my life are believers. And it's now a thing for me to then filter in that pool of believers who are the ones who genuinely are serving God in spirit and in truth. Who are the ones who are completely sold out to God. Because there are lots of churchgoers, but not many people revere and fear God. Not many people place God first above every other thing in their life. And different people are at different stages of growth. So those are the kind of things you then start to analyze. I'm not going to be writing, I want a Christian man, I want a Christian man. Of course I'm going to get a Christian man. Where else would I even be looking for a spouse? Where else? In the club? Child, come off it. I'm not going to be in the club looking for a man. Some people say, well, I can't be praying for a rich man because the company I keep are a company of people that are soaring in wealth. So I'm already surrounded by that company. All I have to do is then look for values in that company. It's left for you to then decide what you want to focus on. If you're looking for an Instagrammable relationship, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Anything where your eyes see, that's what you want. Call it. For the non-Nigerians, I'm basically saying what you see is what you get. Yeah, I think is that the right thing? Yeah, I think so. Anyways, lovely catching up with you all. Once again, thank you for the birthday messages. And I will see you on the next episode. Bye, friends.